The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden extended deportation relief for several thousand Syrian immigrants living in the United States, an early move that aligns with his broader pro-immigrant platform. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced that Acting Secretary David Pekosk would extend temporary protected status for 6,700 eligible Syrians through September of 2022 and allow an additional 1,800 people to file initial applications. The program grants immigrants who cannot return to their country safely for reasons like natural disasters or armed conflict the ability to stay and work in the United States legally for a defined period that can be renewed. A small bomb exploded outside the Israeli embassy in New Delhi on Friday as it marked the anniversary of setting up diplomatic relations with India. No injuries were reported, but an Israeli official said the incident was being treated as terrorism. The windows on 3 nearby cars were blown out by what police called a very low-intensity, impoverished device. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has postponed the end of a ban on travel for its citizens and the reopening of its ports from March 31st to May 17th, the Saudi state news agency SPA said on Friday, citing an Interior Ministry official. The official cited the health minister's announcement of the delay in deliveries of COVID-19 vaccines for the postponement. He stressed the importance of achieving herd immunity in Saudi Arabia before lifting travel restrictions, as several countries around the world are grappling with a second wave of the pandemic. The Saudi Defense Ministry completed preparations to launch its Spirit of Victory military drills today. The major exercise will take place in the eastern province between January 31st and February 11th. The Royal Air Force, Navy and Ground Forces will take part in the exercise held at the King Abdulaziz Air Base. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia had kicked off on Wednesday the third joint rehearsal of military maneuvers between the Royal Air Force and the U.S. Air Force. A joint Turkish and Russian observation center to monitor a ceasefire deal between Azerbaijan and Armenia in Nagorno-Karabakh became operational. Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar announced that Turkish general and 38 personnel will be on duty at the center, which aims to monitor possible violations of the truce. He did not provide further information. Turkey and Russia agreed to form an observation center located in Azerbaijan shortly after the ceasefire agreement, reached in November, ended 6 weeks of intense fighting between Azerbaijan and Armenia. The United Nations Human Rights Office condemned an alleged spree of 20 executions in Iran, including several prisoners from minority groups, and called on Tehran to halt the hanging of an ethnic Baluchi man. According to Amnesty International, Iran has often faced criticism from world bodies and Western human rights groups for its rights record and high number of executions, the world's highest after China. Tehran has dismissed the criticism as baseless and due to a lack of understanding of its laws. United Nations Special Envoy for Syria Jair Pedersen expressed disappointment after 5 days of meetings between delegations from the Syrian regime. Opposition and civil society groups aimed at revising the constitution of the war-torn country ended without progress. Pedersen hinted the Syrian government delegation was to blame for the lack of progress. The UN envoy said he presented a proposal to the heads of the government and opposition delegations, adding that his proposal was rejected by the government team and accepted by the opposition. French President Emmanuel Macron said that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia should be involved in any new negotiations with Iran about the 2015 nuclear deal. He added that talks with Tehran would be very strict, warning that little time remains to prevent Iran developing a nuclear weapon. Macron stressed the need to avoid repeating what he called the mistake of excluding other countries in the region from discussions when the 2015 deal was negotiated. Tunisian presidency said the office manager for Tunisia's president suffered a headache and short-term vision loss after opening a suspect envelope on Monday. The office manager was transferred to a military hospital. Another presidential employee also suffered a headache after the envelope was opened, it said in a statement. Reports emerged on social media saying President Kais Saied had been sent a letter that may have contained poison. An Australian regulator is considering letting internet users choose what personal data companies like Google share with advertisers as part of the country's attempts to shatter the dominance of tech titans. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission also proposed limiting the internet giant's ability to access users' online histories to cross-sell products. The proposals were part of the ACC's interim report into digital advertising in Australia, a $3.4 billion Australian dollars market the regulator said is marked by a lack of competition, transparency and choice. Cities are yet again going back into lockdown across the globe as COVID-19 cases soar. Like the flu, the virus might be seasonal, research by University of Illinois Chicago finds. In a paper published in Evolutionary Bioinformatics, researchers from the university have suggested that, among other epidemiological metrics, the rise in COVID-19 cases and coronavirus-related mortality rates were significantly affected by temperature and altitude across 221 countries. The researchers found that temperature and latitude correlated with the rise in COVID-19 cases, realizing then that climate was only one factor that contributed to the global COVID-19 incidence. Egypt announced that it had retrieved some 5,000 ancient items from the United States after years of negotiations to return fraudulently acquired items. In a statement, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities confirmed the arrival at Cairo Airport of a large number of ancient Egyptian items which had been in the possession of the Museum of the Bible in Washington. The items, totaling nearly 5,000, mainly consisted of manuscripts, but also included funeral masks, parts of coffins and the heads of stone statues, said Shaban Abdel Jawad, an official quoted in the statement. New research from Queen Mary University of London and the University of Maryland has reignited the debate around the behavior of the giant dinosaur Spinosaurus. Since its discovery in 1950, the biology of the behavior of the enormous Spinosaurus has puzzled paleontologists worldwide. It was recently argued that the dinosaur was largely an aquatic predator, using its large tail to swim and actively pursue fish in the water. Scientists have set out 10 golden rules for reforestation, which they say must be a top priority for all nations this decade. Tree planting is a brilliant solution to tackle climate change and protect biodiversity, but the wrong tree in the wrong place can do more harm than good, said experts at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew. According to BBC, the rules include protecting existing forests first and involving locals. Facebook said it would provide academic researchers information on how political ads were targeted in the lead-up to the presidential election in the United States last year. The social media giant said the data would include targeting criteria such as location and interest selected by advertisers running social issue, electoral or political ads. Academics and researchers can apply for access to this information through the Facebook Open Research and Transparency platform on February 1st, Facebook said in a blog post, adding that the data package would cover more than 1 million ads that ran between August 3rd and November 3rd.